Hey, seventh grade, welcome to Unit 1, Lesson 4. We are going to look at finding the subject in some sentences where it is difficult at times to determine what the subject of the sentence really is. Okay, we want to talk first about inverted order. Normally the sentences that we write or speak are they're in what we call natural order. It's the natural way that we speak. Usually it's the subject comes before the verb. However, there are times where the subject will come after the verb. This is called inverted order. Think about math. When you invert something, you flip it around. A lot of times authors and writers, they will do this with sentences to, spice up their writing or make a point in a different way. Okay, but it can make finding the subject a little more difficult. So that's what we're going to focus on. If we have inverted declarative sentences like this, at the corner of Park Street is the bus stop. In the natural order, the sentence would read, the bus stop is at the corner of Park Street. So what is our subject there? It is bus stop. Now, we also have declarative sentences that are inverted, but they begin with the introductory word here or there. Like, here comes the last bus. Okay, but here's the deal. The subject is never ever going to be here or there when inverted declarative sentences begin with one of those words. Okay, when you flip it around, it becomes the last bus comes here. So the subject in this case would be bus. Now we also have to deal with interrogative sentences. Like, where is our train? When we flip that around, our train is where, or our train is, the subject is quite obvious to us. It's train. We also have to deal sometimes with imperative sentences being kind of confusing on what that subject actually is. But if we can remember that imperative sentences always, 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 the subject is you, then you won't have any issues there. All right, let's do a little bit of guided practice. I want you to write each sentence, circle the simple subject. If the subject is you in an imperative sentence, then just write you next to your sentence because it's not there in the subject. It's implied. We won't see it. Okay, so our first guided practice is James taking the subway to school? Take a moment, write that sentence down. See if you can identify the subject. Go ahead and pause. Okay, so what is the subject of that sentence? Well, when I invert the sentence, it says, James is taking the subway to school. The subject there is James. Let's try another one. Does he have a subway token? Go ahead and pause, write down, and see if you can identify and circle the subject. Okay, well, when I invert this sentence to have it come in natural order, it says, he does have a subway token. So the subject is he. What about this one? Is the blue train the one to Exeter Square? Go ahead and pause, write that down. See if you can figure out what the subject is. Okay, well, when I invert this sentence, it becomes the blue train is the one to Exeter Square. So our subject is train. Okay, try this one. Here is the right wine. Go ahead and pause. Well, when I invert this sentence so that it's in natural order, it says the right one is here. So where is our subject? Our subject is one. Here's another one for you to try. At the end of the car is an empty seat. Write the sentence. See if you can identify the subject of the sentence. Go ahead and pause. Okay, so what is the subject of the sentence? The subject is seat, because when I invert that sentence, it actually says an empty seat is at the end of the car. All right, let's try another one here. Hold on to the pole. Go ahead and pause. Okay, what's the subject here? The subject is you. We have an imperative sentence. It's giving a command to you. You hold on to the pole. All right, let's try another. Does the subway stop near the school? Go ahead and pause. Okay, so what is the subject of this sentence once you invert the order to natural order? The subject is subway. What about this one? Get off at the next stop. Go ahead and pause. All right, the subject of this sentence is you. We have another imperative sentence here. What about this? There is always a crowd at the station at this time of the morning. Take a second, really look at that, and see if you can identify what is being talked about or who is being talked about. Go ahead and pause. Okay, so when we're looking at this sentence, how would you write this so that it's in a more natural order? We could say a crowd is always there at the station at this time of the morning. So that makes the subject of our sentence station. Okay, so let's sum it up really quick. A sentence in which the subject follows the verb, we call that inverted order. And in an imperative sentence, you is the understood subject, always. You will always be the subject of an imperative sentence. Okay? All right, let's move on to some independent practice. I want you to write each sentence, circle the simple subject, and we will go over this on our next meeting day of grammar.